Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lori. I am the Frugal Mom. If you're new here, welcome. I'm glad to have you. My content focuses around frugal living, food bank hauls, frugal cooking, homemaking, raising kids, dealing with life in general, and just kind of trucking along when you have multiple disabilities, chronic illnesses, and such. So, I thought that I would just pop on here today and just kind of talk about a couple of things that have been on my mind. So, in a lot of recent videos that I've been watching from some of my friends here on YouTube, they've been taking a lot of criticism for going to the food pantries. Um, and like some of them have facial piercings, things of that nature, tattoos. A few of them have newer cars. Some of them, I think their kids had some name brand clothing. And I just wanted to kind of stick up for some of them and also for myself because, there's some misconceptions about those of us who use our resources, that, you know, we're abusing the system and whatnot. So I just wanted to clear some things up. So, I'm very transparent about my lifestyle, my income. It is fixed, different things like that. I'm just kind of trying to appeal to those people who are so judgmental and try to get them to look at life a little bit differently. So first off, if you've never been low income, you don't really know what it's like. It's not easy. A lot of us were very grateful for everything that we have. A lot of us ended up low income through no fault of our own. Either domestic violence, a divorce because your relationship didn't work out, you were abandoned by your partner, sickness, disabilities, such as my case. I happen to have multiple disabilities, and I still try to work when I can. Having said that, most of us are still very resourceful, we're very frugal, and we're not wasteful with the resources that we're given. Now for me, and a lot of people confuse a lot of these programs, and it's so frustrating. I have SSDI. So what SSDI is, it's a Social Security program where you are paid based on your earnings before you were disabled. So I worked for a good long time, since I was 15. And there was times where I worked multiple jobs. In fact, most of my life I worked multiple jobs. Especially, I would say, the years between the time my kids were, well, my oldest was 8 when I started working 2 to 3 jobs until she was about 13, because I just had to. You do what you've got to do. Because unfortunately, at that time, I fell between the cracks for any kind of help. I could go to food pantries, and I did from time to time, because I had to. I wasn't receiving child support hardly at all from one of my children's fathers. The other one's always been really good about it, but just expenses are high, so I did what I had to do to give them a good life. So, not to go too into that, but SSDI is the Social Security program that we pay into. SSI is for people who I believe never worked. It's more of like, I don't know the exact reasoning for it, but it's a lower payment amount to begin with. You still get Medicare. I always get the two confused. You still get Medicare, and that's still not welfare. Although I believe it might be partly funded by that. I'm not sure. Somebody can correct me if they're wrong, but I could always look it up and let you guys know. But in either case, they are not what people call entitlement. Usually if you have SSI, either one of your parents or a spouse, they paid into it, and so you're getting paid on their claim. It won't affect their retirement benefits if they need to collect SSI or SSDI for some reason or another. Just to clear that up. Alright, so another thing is, if people get SNAP benefits, which are food stamp benefits, you have to understand that it is not as much as you think that it is. We right now are a family of 4/5. You know, my daughter lives between here and her father's house. And you know, it is not really enough to last the whole month. And that's not with buying anything that's frivolous either. You know, the only time I really buy things that are considered frivolous is if they're on a deep, deep discount, and then I kind of squirrel them away. Meat is really expensive. Fresh produce is very expensive. It costs a lot to eat healthy. God forbid if you're diabetic or you have a food allergy, you know, it'll blow your grocery budget right out of the water. So, you know, oftentimes most people who receive SNAP benefits, like, they're good for 3 weeks, I would say, out of the 4 out of the month with their benefits, and then they need to supplement somehow. So I know it's called supplemental nutrition. I forgot what the AP stands for, but I know it's only meant to be a supplement, but, you know, so many people are just thinking, oh, you're getting all that free food and blah, 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 blah. You know, like, okay, we're very grateful for the help that we do get, but you have to understand, it's not covering all of our food. And like I said, what do you do if you've got food allergies? Like, this poor woman who posted a video on her channel a few days ago, she bought a lot of organic things, gluten-free, different foods that her children could eat because they have different sensitivities, texture. You have to realize kids with ADHD and kids who are on the spectrum, they have issues with texture and tactile issues. So what one child may be able to eat, another can't. What are they supposed to make themselves ill because they can't eat something that's, you know, less expensive? So as long as, you know, you're being as frugal as possible and you're buying the foods that your family needs, I don't think it really should be anybody's concern, you know? Like, I could see if she was buying a lot of soda, you know, and junk food, but she wasn't. I mean, like, she got crap because she was buying coconut milk. Really? And, oat milk creamer. Okay, so, and more natural snacks like, unsalted cashews. You know, like, a lot of people just can't eat processed food. You know, she got some fruits in there, some vegetables. You know, I think she did very well for what she got. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. Don't be judgmental. Another thing that I hear all the time is people are going to food pantries and people are going to social services with nice cars. Now, there's a couple reasons for this. Number one, maybe they're getting a ride from someone else. Did you ever think of that? Maybe they don't have a working vehicle. Maybe, you know, a family member or a friend is driving them, and that's why they're showing up in a nice vehicle. Come on, people, don't be judgmental. The other thing, too, maybe they bought this vehicle before they came on hard times, and they can't turn it in because then they're not going to have a vehicle to get to work. Take their children to school, or, you know, school activities and things of that nature. Maybe it's the only car that their family has. And I know for me, back in the day, when I needed a new car, my credit wasn't great yet. So I had to finance a car that would hold its value in case the bank needed to repossess for some reason. So you get caught in this, you know, catch-22. Is right after my divorce. My credit had suffered quite a bit because of my divorce, because I took on the marital debt. It's a long story, but I took on the marital debt so that my ex-husband would give me the house. Unfortunately, what ended up happening was I got pregnant with my second child. I wasn't able to work. I went on bed rest at 18 weeks, and I couldn't keep up the payments on the house, so I ended up losing that too. Anyway, I don't want to digress too much. So what happens is you're forced into buying something that you really can't afford just because you need to have a car. Now, a lot of people will say, well, okay, why don't you, save up for like a beater or a used car? Well, that's great, but if you still need to get to work, if you don't have a reliable way to get there and no one to rely on to get you back and forth and wherever else you need to go, so how are you supposed to save if you can't get back and forth to work? You can't pay your bills or anything else if you can't work. So it all begins with that. You have to work. How do you get to work? You need a car. So, you know, the car that I have now I did pay cash for, but I was in a better position this time. Unfortunately I had a car accident last February and my car was totaled. But I did have enough in savings. So, my goal is I'm going to start another savings account for the next vehicle. Hopefully the one I have will last for a while. And then I'll be prepared. But sometimes that just isn't the case. And did you ever think maybe somebody was gifted a vehicle or left a vehicle? That happens too. So, and the other thing, people are saying, that woman, she's got a big diamond ring on her finger, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And there's a few things about that. Alright. Have you ever heard of Diamonique? Well, Diamonique is a very high-end cubic zirconium, basically, that QVC sells. You can get some really nice cubic zirconium jewelry pieces. And even so, what if somebody has a diamond ring on their finger? You know how hard it is to sell those rings? And I can tell you this firsthand because I do have a very nice engagement ring from my ex. It's beautiful. I do love it. It makes me sad to see it because, well, things didn't end up so well. I did try to sell it. No one wants it. It's, very valuable. It's beautiful. It's not kept in my house, so don't get any ideas. It's an asset, but it's only an asset if I can sell it for what it's worth. People are trying to rip me off when I try to sell it, and they're trying to give me like a quarter of what it's worth, and I'm just not going to let it go for that. So did you ever think, like, if somebody's wearing something like that, again, maybe they had it before they fell on hard times, and like I said, selling it is not as easy as you think. So that's why they still have it. Another thing I hear all the time, oh, they get their nails done. While some people in the lines at social services or the food pantries might get their nails done, I can tell you, I know a lot of people who are either having a friend or a family member do their nails or they do them themselves. I'm no fuss, no muss. I used to get my nails done when I was working. And ever since the pandemic, I can't be bothered. Maybe once a year I'll go and I'll get a basic $10 manicure just to push back my cuticles and shape my nails. I don't like sitting there. I'm not going to spend the money. I use Color Street. I have a great Color Street rep when I want to do my nails. They're basically dry nail polish. They range between $9 and like $13 a set. You can get 2 uses out of each set. Most of the time I just put on clear nail hardener and I just push back my own cuticles and trim my own nails and file them. So, so what if a person has nice nails? It doesn't mean that they're at the salon spending endless money. And if they color their hair, how do you know that they're going to a salon and coloring their hair? Now, if I've already been transparent with you guys, I do intend to keep my hair coloring up. I put away a couple dollars every week. I go every 4 months. It's the only thing that I really allow myself. I actually need a bang trim. And it's not that expensive. If I put away $5 a week, I get a haircut 3 times a year. I mean, last year I didn't get a haircut at all. But I feel like I need to do this one thing for myself. Another thing that I hear all the time too is, oh, they've got name brand handbags. Okay, so the first Coach that I ever owned, I bought it secondhand at a store called Plato's Closet. It was $25. The second one that I ever had, it was fake. It came from Chinatown, and I didn't pay for it. It was a gift. And then I actually do have a new one. It's a smaller one, and that I got as a gift as well. None of them I paid for. Now, if I were to sell these things, they're not going to really bring me much money, and nobody seems to want any of them anyway. You know, and the other crazy thing that I hear all the time was, oh, those kids, they have on name brand clothes. Okay, here's my view on this, okay? I do buy my kids name brand clothes, but 90% of the time when I'm buying them, they're secondhand, people. My daughter, she's older, so she pays for about half of her clothes, and I budget out $200 in the spring and $200 in the fall to put towards her clothes. And that includes underwear and those necessities as well. With the undergarments, unless she wants to buy them herself, and this includes my son too, I just keep it really basic. I buy the cheapest on sale things that I can. And you can find cute stuff on sale at Walmart or even on Amazon. I go to Costco and I buy like a 10-pack of socks, like Puma or whatever. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, or Skechers, and as long as it's the kind that they like, they don't care. Plato's Closet sometimes has, multi-packs of socks that somebody just decided to sell. They were sitting in their drawer for a while, brand new. $20 pack of socks, 6 pairs, $5. I got that once or twice. So, there you go. I use Depop as well. Depop, if you're not familiar with it, it's like a secondhand site where you can get name brand clothing for like a fraction of the cost. So here's the thing. I know people are saying, oh, well, your kids, they shouldn't care what people think about them. And while this is true, and I do teach them this, I understand being a teenager very well. I grew up in the town that they go to school in. Things are a lot worse now than they were 32 years ago when I graduated. They want to fit in. They want to feel like they belong. I am not going to, make them wear, substandard clothing. That's not to say that, some of the basics like leggings or t-shirts don't come from Walmart, because believe me, they do, because you can't tell, and nobody really cares about that. But yeah, I'll buy my son some secondhand Nike sweatshirts. I'm not paying $70, $90 for them like some people do, but I pay $20 for a hoodie, sometimes $25. I'll pay $15, $20 for a pair of Nike Tech sweatpants that are almost new. I've gotten him brand new stuff at Plato's Closet, name brand, and on Depop for a fraction of the cost. So yeah, I will buy him several sets of name brand secondhand clothing. Now the sneakers, I will only buy him one pair of nice sneakers per year. He gets the rest of the sneakers from his dad, who buys them secondhand as well from a sneakerhead that lives near him. If you're not familiar with that term, it means somebody who's crazy into sneakers and collects them. And oftentimes he has to make room in his collection, so he'll sell a few pairs to my ex, and then my son gets them. So that works out. Every year I buy him a pair of slides, a pair of Crocs. Again, I try not to pay full price. I actually never pay full price for any of it. But I have a certain budget, and usually it's about $200 per season for him too. And that's just how it is, until they stop growing. Well, my daughter has stopped growing, yeah. And the reason why I'm still giving her money for clothes is because, she works really hard. She is taking college classes, and why not help her if I can? I budget it out. I save for it every 6 months. So if you're frugal with other things, you can do that. As far as I'm concerned, I do buy myself clothes occasionally, but I buy really inexpensive thrifted clothes. Sometimes I'll do Plato's Attic, sometimes I'll do Goodwill. A lot of the times I'll do like an Afterpay order. I give myself $100 increments on Shein. Shein, yes. And I know it's fast fashion, what people call fast fashion, but guess what? I'm 51. Nothing's fast fashion for me. If you take care of your clothes, even if they're inexpensive, they will last. And if they don't, you send them back and you get your money back. So, I'm just so sick of people standing up here or sitting up here on their throne looking down at those of us who use our resources. Like, we live on like something like $40,000 a year. That's not a lot of money, especially when you consider that our rent is more than half of that. So if I wasn't frugal and I didn't do the things that I did, we wouldn't be able to afford to live. My kids need to have clothes. They might as well be nice clothes. You know, I shouldn't be shamed for wanting to look nice and having, my roots done every like 4 months. I know people who have it done a lot more than that, and I know people who actually do work the system, and I don't agree with that. That isn't me. By the way, since I got my Social Security disability, I no longer qualify for food stamps. So I do set a budget for food every week, but I usually add to what I'm getting from the food pantry. Right now, I'm trying to use what I've got in my pantry and in my freezers to kind of eat down what we've got and things that I prepared already before I go back. And I do buy a little bit each week. But that's just how it is, guys. So please, think before you speak. You know, most people, especially those who are on YouTube, talking about their life, giving frugal tips, sharing their life with you, they're doing it from a place of kindness and concern. They want to share their life and their ideas, and they want to have community. They don't want to be put down by a bunch of trolls, and I'm sick of it. So please, food is a human right. And like I always say, most of what's in the food pantry would get thrown away by the end of the time that they are open if people did not come to get it. Please get up off your high horse. Practice kindness. God does not like ugly. If you have nothing nice to say, just don't say it. Keep it to yourself. Not everybody who has Social Security benefits and SNAP and WIC, which, by the way, guys, is not welfare. When I had WIC for my kids, somebody behind me in the grocery line at a grocery store went on a tangent about how I was a welfare mom. Mind you, I was there after work picking up formula for my lactose intolerant son. And she says, "Oh, it's one of those welfare moms." I wanted to just reach behind and I just wanted to slap her silly. Don't speak from a place of ignorance. Educate yourself. Know what you're talking about before you spew garbage and poison. Be the kind of person that your kids would look up to. Live your life in a kind, gentle way. Please, please practice kindness. The world needs more of it. Not all this selfish ranting on and on and on about how your taxpayer dollars paid for somebody to have gauges in their ear and nose rings and, in my case, my roots. No, honey, I'm sorry. I paid for that. My Social Security, that's mine. So, and your taxpayer dollars are not paying for the food pantry. I'm sorry. Unless you donate, and if you do, I appreciate you. And remember, I also give back. If I've got something that someone else could use, I will put them up on the free pages. I will always help somebody who is in need find food and resources I've given out of my own pantry to help people before. This is how the world becomes a better place, by being kind, not petty and ignorant and selfish. So, with those thoughts in mind, it's been going on 23 minutes now that I've been talking about these subjects. I just thought it would be worth talking about. I appreciate all of you, my subscribers. Thank you so much to my new subscribers. If you like this video, please do hit like and share and subscribe. I'm sending love to all of you from New Jersey, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Have a great night, guys.